Hey, it's your girl Yolanda Lewis. Let's get emotional.
I kinda like you. I kinda like you.
Hey, today's conversation is all about how to heal from trauma and take back the power in your life. Step number one is to recognize the patterns of trauma and stop normalizing them just because it's all around you. A lot of times, and especially in certain cultures, trauma can be normalized because it's been so repeated, because it's been so prevalent and so you're so used to seeing it. It's so much a part of the fabric of your family. It's so much the part of the fabric of how you deal with people. But when we stop normalizing what is actually trauma, then we can proceed to notice the patterns and heal from it. Step two is understanding that there is a difference between the trauma you and the real you. And the real you oftentimes gets lost in the devastation of the trauma. The real you may think, is the person that is just snappy and that is in your face and that is so forward and blunt and non compassionate, but really, that could be the trauma you. The real you, without the trauma, could be a person of compassion, could be a person of sensitivity, could be a person of warmth that you've never really gotten to know and that you've had to cover up and protect with this tough external layer of the traumatic you. So, step two is understanding that there's a difference between the trauma you and the real you. Step three is a good one. It's all about giving yourself space from the trauma to actually heal. How often do we do that, right? We don't do that enough. We don't give ourselves space and actually separate from the things that are traumatic, actually separate from the environment. We know how to separate from the emotion. We know how to turn off the emotion and make ourselves to where we can't feel it. But separating yourself from the actual trauma is a process that takes you sometimes to physically remove your location from one place to another so you can start your healing journey. Step four, don't be afraid of triggers. We are oftentimes afraid of triggers and shut them off, but triggers are actually the signs and the notifications and the warning signals to let us know that, wait, our body, our mind, our spirit remembers this place. And when you can identify, you know what, hey, pause, self, this is a trigger. Let me take a moment to identify that this is actually a trigger and then work to heal the trigger. Work to heal the space the trigger is coming from. That can't happen if you're afraid of it. And it sure enough can't happen if you are shutting it down. And finally, step five. Step five is stop lying to yourself and calling it strength. It's okay to feel emotion. I know that our culture is all about don't be in your feelings and all this kind of stuff, but not being in your feelings doesn't actually equate to strength, nor does it equate to process. So I encourage you to stop lying to yourself and actually confront the emotions so that you can heal from them and actually really move forward and see the light that life has to offer you. Now it's your turn. Let's get emotional.
Kinda like you.